Welcome to Prepper Nation. I am John. Good morning. What is it? Tuesday morning. Hopefully, y'all are having a great one. So, I want to get straight into it. We need to heed this warning. Someone brought this to my attention yesterday in chat. I explored it after the fact. Thank y'all if you were in the house yesterday. Sheriff Richard Jones in Ohio. He claims to have received a warning from the federal BI. Pretty sad when you can't even say the name of the agency without having fear of being deplatformed. But whatever, it is what it is. Y'all know what I'm talking about. The federal BI. I guess we're gonna play this stupid game, right? So he attended a winter conference in our capital for law enforcement, primarily sheriffs, and he said he spoke to individuals at the federal BI. The ones that like to investigate parents who are concerned, right? And they essentially told him it's going to happen right here in the United States and very soon. They're talking about levels, something similar to the level of September the 11th. And they said it's going to be an all hands on deck situation, if you will. At least this is what he pulled from his meeting with these individuals. And I guess everybody else just went back home and they're content being sheriffs, but he is in his fourth or fifth term now. And he said he's really concerned about the folks that are supposed to be here in the United States in his community that continue to elect him. He really does want to keep them safe. And he's trying to warn them, along with the rest of the country, because again, this made national news. He was told that we are undergoing unprecedented threat levels right now. Nothing like the United States has ever seen before, even getting back to 2001 and around that, the Cold War, all of this stuff. Unprecedented threat levels, specifically when it comes to cyber warfare. Hackers are constantly trying to get in, shut things down, according to this three-letter agency, as they were speaking to him. Infrastructure like water treatment plants, the grid, obviously, financial institutions, pipelines, and transit systems in the bigger cities and things like this. Anything that is going to disrupt daily life. He said people are constantly, hundreds of times a day, they're trying to nail this kind of stuff here in the United States, and it seems to be ramping up and becoming more frequent as we get closer to November. And he goes on to tell the people during a press conference, he was wearing a Boston hat, by the way. Let me just say, our cyber teams here in the United States are overwhelmed. From his understanding and what he had to say about this, again, this is Sheriff Richard Jones in Ohio. We're outnumbered approximately 50-1 when it comes to cyber teams versus international players. So just completely overwhelmed. Occasionally something will get through. We'll see a little bit of chaos with the financial institution, or we'll see something crazy happen. This is one of these attacks getting through. Usually we're able to prevent them because we have some really smart people that are countering these threats. But again, 50-1, eventually we're going to be totally overwhelmed. So I just wanted to talk about it for a few minutes this morning. If you don't mind, take a second if you haven't done so and hit like and subscribe. Not only do I truly appreciate that, I say that every day, but the level of censorship is unreal on this platform. I'm just going to call a spade this morning, and I'm not complaining about it. I've come to realize every single morning when I wake up, I know I'm also facing that battle, but by liking the video, hitting subscribe, sharing it out. I mean, it really does help make it worthwhile, because otherwise it wouldn't be. I'm in a level with you. So thank you if you've done that. So Sheriff Jones, getting back to Sheriff Jones here for a second. He gets back to his community and immediately begins to upgrade the police cruisers in his department, outfitting them with better weapons and things like this to respond to larger events should that come down to it. He has begun training his staff for the worst case scenarios. Now you're always going to have some sort of emergency training. I mean, these are first responders, right? And they already have a tough job, but he's specifically pivoting now to bigger events and how you deal with bigger events, and making sure his staff is fully prepared for that as much as they can be. And he's made the statement. I totally concur with this assessment, by the way. The government will not be able to help his department. This was his takeaway. The government, if they see something wide scale, they're not going to be able to respond to every small community. They're not going to be able to swoop in and help. Contrary to what the idiots out there believe, some people believe, the government will take care of me. He's telling you the opposite. And he actually started a class for the public there. And the class is called, in case you want to Google it, When Disaster Strikes, Prepare, Act, and Survive. Not necessarily a prepping class per se, but he's going to be going through the gambit of prepping things. He's going to be teaching the basics on how to survive without a lot of the fancier stuff, how to stay safe, bunkering in, stuff like this. He personally believes, and I believe this as well, that if we are going to see something wide scale, we're going to see it in or around November. So we'll see. It's kind of hard to predict that, but that was his vibe in speaking to the federal BI. Again, that's ridiculous that we even have to say that, but that was his takeaway, that they themselves are expecting something just prior to the election, during the election, or directly after the election in November, should we have one. And the government is preparing for the same thing. In other words, he went back to his community and he's trying to prepare people in much the same way that the government is preparing its own agencies, because they realize during the month of November, 50-to-1 ratio, we're going to be totally overwhelmed. Bad things are coming. And because he's trying to warn people, this is the level of stupidity in this country. Let me just call it for what it is, son. He is being called Doomsday Jones. A lot of people are mocking this man. Again, he's not a brand new sheriff. He's not generally the kind of person that stands up and says abrasive things. This was just a gut feeling when he left that meeting. It didn't feel like the other annual meetings that he'd been to. And he realizes the government expects bad things to happen very soon. And he's just trying to warn people. And because he's trying to do that, again, he's being labeled as Doomsday Jones. So here's what I would like this morning. I'm not saying anybody here, at Prepper Nation, maybe you are, I don't know, is on the other side of the fence and they think this guy's just being a doomer or whatever. Maybe there's somebody out there that does believe or suspects the government is going to take care of you and hold your hand during a time of crisis. I want to hear the other side of the argument. We just went over the sheriff's side of the argument. You guys know where I stand on it. I want to hear the argument as to why people place their faith in the government during a time of crisis. Government being lawmakers, specifically, and heads of these organizations. Why do you place so much faith in these people that swoop in and take care of you? Why are people willing to abandon their own responsibility and literally place their livelihoods and the safety of their family into the laps of total strangers just because they're part of the quote unquote government? I got a comment yesterday. I didn't recognize this person. I don't know if they're brand new or what. Maybe they've only been here for a few weeks, and if so, God bless them for it. But they said, when are you going to talk about important stuff? Of course, the post was misspelled and there was no profile pic. That's usually the case. I was telling Backwoods last week. It's always the people with no profile pic, right? But here's the thing. Prepper Nation's been around for several years now. So if you've been here for a while, you kind of know what to expect with this community. You kind of know every community has its own feel, and we talk about things in a certain light, in a certain vein, if you will. We stay in our own lane. And so if you've been here for a while, you should know what that feel is. I mean, yeah, we could talk about all kinds of stuff. Let's be honest. I could get on here and I could totally try and change who I am, and I could quit saying son, and I could be somebody that I'm not. But look, son, pun intended there, right? I'm not going to do that because I do this not for the money. I get paid pittance over here. Again, not complaining, but 5 days out of 7, I get paid nothing. YouTube just pockets the money and slaps me on the wrist for not being a team player. But I digress. The point is, I do this because I enjoy it. And doing this because I enjoy it means I'm going to do it the way I want to do it. And it's very simple. YouTube is free. You can open your own channel and you can give out any vibe you want to. I mean, look, we could be covering gardening over here 3 days a week. We could talk about growing microgreens and building greenhouses. That's not what we do over here. And it's a decision I've made because look, there are thousands of videos on gardening already available on YouTube. What really do I have to add to that conversation? People a lot smarter when it comes to gardening have put out excellent, extraordinary content. Like, what am I going to add to that as a fly-by-night gardener myself, right? We could do gear reviews. In fact, we do gear reviews once a month, and nobody cares. We have 80 people in the lobby. We have 800 views after a month or something. So, why am I going to sit here and review gear all the time? You know what I mean? I try and listen to the community, and that's how we've gotten into the lane that we're in. I do listen to feedback. So we could talk about survival food. Hey, John, can you go over the difference between expensive survival food and cheap survival food? Yeah, we can do that, but we don't need to do it 3 days a week. If I'm being honest, we don't need to get on here and sell survival food. You can buy the expensive stuff that has nutrients in it, or you can buy the cheap stuff that you're going to be able to stack a lot easier and buy some multivitamins. Do whatever you want to do. I really don't care. But yeah, we can do that sometime. The vibe that I have over here right now, and the mindset that I'm in right now, somebody said yes, a couple people actually, John is a little salty this morning. I wonder what's going on. Has nothing to do with you folks. It has to do with the censorship. I'm going to level with you, but I'm not being salty. It's just right now, rather than talking about microgreens that have been talked about thousands of times here on YouTube, I would rather try to reach that person out there, and you're out there, sitting in your Fruit of the Loom underwear on the couch, watching YouTube as entertainment right now, eating what? Andy Capp's hot fries. That person, that's the individual that I'm trying to reach. So it's important to me that people wake up. And I get it. A lot of people, it's a waste of time to wake these zombies up at this point. Maybe so, but I got a little time to waste every morning. You know what I'm saying? And I'm really trying to make sure people understand, even preppers. I think that 50% of preppers out there don't understand, don't realize, and truly aren't prepared for what's coming. Okay? So it is what it is. I mean, you either like the content or you don't. If you don't, shoot a thumbs down. It is what it is. I do listen to the feedback, but to the newer folks that are coming in here, unfortunately, sun is just something I've picked up, and I do say it from time to time. A lot of people in my area do. It's a southern thing, especially in this area. I live in Mayberry, in case nobody out there knows this, and I just do what I enjoy here on YouTube. I'm not going to change the content. I'm not going to chase algorithms. I'm not going to try and pretend to be somebody that I'm not. here on this platform. And it's kind of like I love everybody out there, but it's a take it or leave it deal. You know, if that's a deal breaker for you, that I'm not going to be, you know, like the Canadian prepper and have he has excellent video editing skills. That's not me. You know, if you guys are upset that I'm not sitting out on a front porch with chickens running around, that's not me. That's not my presentation style. So take it or leave it. Love me or hate me, whatever you want to do. But I'm going to keep it real over here. Y'all take care and God bless.